Okay, so Nick, let's talk about the IRA and what it means in our industry. So, how bad is it? Will it change things? What do we do about PBMs? How are we going to end their tyranny, if you will, in pricing?
Yeah, well, let's start with the IRA piece, which PBMs conveniently escaped. But for our industry, it is a really big deal. Even by conservative estimates from CBO, you're still talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of impact. So it is very real, even if not every company is feeling it on the very first year. Fundamentally, when we're seeing the government come in and do price controls, they are putting their thumb on the scale, making investments in life sciences riskier, less likely to come to fruition. And that venture capital, those investments, that means they're going to flow in a different direction.
So is it the slippery slope that everybody keeps talking about?
It's a little bit of slippery slope, but I mean, we're on the slope now. The bill has passed. It's part of law. Those decisions about your pipeline, your clinical pipeline, they're being made right now. Most of the bill's enactment is still like 1 or 2 years away, but those decisions are just made now because it's so long to bring a drug through that pipeline and get that in. So those are all very real impacts that we've heard from our members. I know you've heard about it on all the different panels today. It's been a real, it's a real thing. It's something that everyone's got to grapple with, which how much harder it is to raise capital and to keep investing.
And that's just because of the IRA. And then we have to, I think the industry is now responding, if you will, to the PBMs and to dealing with the lack of transparency and how much they put pressure on pricing.
Yes, and policy does not happen in a vacuum. The PBM system, the pharmacy benefit managers, as they have consolidated and gotten more and more power, the PBMs, the big three, they're not just Fortune 50 companies; they are Fortune 15. They are all so big and they have so much leverage in these conversations that the companies are really at a disadvantage. Particularly smaller companies, if you only have 1 or 2 products on market in approval, the PBM is just handing you a term sheet, making the rebate demands, and that's it. And you have no leverage whatsoever. I do think while the PBMs escape scrutiny in the IRA, there is bipartisan momentum around getting some reforms on the PBM system, even from members that maybe not traditionally thought of as life sciences champions, but are still very much aligned and trying to
Who are
push
those
this
members?
through.
Who are the others?
Senator Wyden, Senator Grassley on the Senate side have been big champions. Senator Cantwell over on her committee, on the Health Committee, all very much kind of seeing like, hey, this is a system that needs sunlight, it needs sunshine, it needs reform here. And on the House side, we also, Energy and Commerce, Ways and Means, both committees marked up bills. It was scheduled for floor time. There's been a little bit of hiccup on the House side on floor consideration, but it is still very positive momentum that we're seeing bipartisan interest. From bipartisan interest is very rare these days.
And is pharma on board with bio?
Yeah, I think the whole industry is united on these reforms. I don't think there's any daylight from anyone I've talked to about the need to address reforms here. It's pretty universal that acknowledging it's time.
Okay. What do we need to do? I mean, one of the questions I asked Paul last year at Biotech Showcase is, we're 600 people in this room, what can we do to support bio?
I think just being involved and being active is the number one most important thing we can do. We as an industry are incredibly intertwined with the government, between Medicare, Medicaid, the FDA, the SEC, all the acronyms out there. This is an industry that fundamentally is connected to the government, but we also shouldn't expect that elected leaders automatically know everything about our industry.
And what about the employees in our companies?
They are frequently not aware of how much role elected officials have in their job, the survival of their job.
And talking about it, talking to their neighbors about it,
100%,
educating everybody.
And I think that's the key thing. Those 600 people in the room, they can help be ambassadors for that education and really talk to people. Because you're running for office today, you're a lawyer, you're a real estate agent, you're a sheriff. Tomorrow you are having a vote that controls, Medicare and Medicaid and the FDA and things like that. We should not assume that you know all these issues the way we know know it in this industry, living and breathing it. So
Okay.
we really need ambassadors to educate. That does start with our employees in our workforces. They're the ones who know it. So they're the ones who really need to help us educate everyone.
Right. I would agree. I'm looking forward to changes. I look forward to seeing what bio can do to affect that.
Thank you. Me too. I think it's a great time in the industry, actually. The innovation on the science side is amazing. So I do think it's just a great time to be involved.
Okay. I thank you for coming to BioFuture,
this has been
to
great.
being on our stage here, and I want to see bio at Biotech Showcase.
Yes, it's been great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Nick.